Music. It's always been a part of our everyday lives. But the way in which we listen to it has changed dramatically. From the tap of a screen to the crackle of a needle. It's always been ever present. But here's the question. Has music changed because of the format? 3, 2, 1.
Right, John Alexander. Right, before we start, all I can say, I've got to give a bit of my experience because I'm going back 60 years here. My experience was living in Germany abroad with my parents, so I can't really say what went on in England. But vinyl was a big part of my life in the 60s because living in Germany we had no television. It was Radio Luxembourg we used to get now and then. Reception was very poor, and all we had was British Forces radio, which all you got on a Sunday was the top 20. That's how you got to know what records to order or buy. So vinyl was the big thing to me and all my friends. But the biggest problem with that, being at school at the time, you had to save up to buy a record, which was quite expensive in them days. And also your record player was very expensive. But all my friends and I, at the end of the day, we did end up with records and record players. So we started collecting records. The nicest thing about collecting records, you end up with your own taste and own feelings about music, and it was exactly the same with your friends. So you had a variation of music with vinyl, vinyl is a very personal thing. All the little scratches and all the little blips on the vinyl, you got to know them, and there might have been millions of records sold, but that one vinyl record was the same sound to you. The 60s music was a totally different ball game, you know. Well, the 60s music were the ones who came out with pop, you know, the Beatles and all that genre. Records was the biggest part of my life in Germany, and it was the same with my friends too. And what you got to find out is the taste of your friends and your tastes, and you used to swap records. You didn't buy all your records, you used to swap records with your friends, have them for maybe a month and then swap them back again. So that was a big plus. I think in England it would be a lot easier to buy a record. I'm saying records were so expensive because they had to be exported from England to the NAFI where I used to go pick up my records. And it wasn't a matter of walking into a shop and buying that record there and then. You had to wait a fortnight for that record to be delivered to you. So I would think compared to England, it was a lot, you cared for them more and appreciated the music more than what you did in England. I would say that the final thought, I hope people nowadays, especially teenagers, appreciate how much work goes into someone making a record, because there's a lot of work goes into it. I think a lot of children nowadays just think, oh, it's just a flick of a switch and there we are with music. It's not. Music is a very hard thing to play.
Over time, technology changed. First, it was vinyl, then CDs.
Hi, I'm Paul Alexander, and I'm here to partake in Oliver's documentary. Music and what you grew up around. My earliest memory of growing up around music was in my parents' house. I used to hear my dad play a lot of 60s music on his vinyl, generally early on the mornings at the weekends to get us